That seems to me that might be the
Halder
case.
taking the cut through. Here we go. He's going to close in on Silva. He took the cut through on the corkscrew last time too. Is he going to do that again here?
Let's see, he's awful close to Silva. Silva goes a little bit deep. He is going to cut right through, comes in front of him, but he's a little bit out of sorts. Car manages to get itself back together, and Nico Silva tries to cut back on him, gives him another little hello, sneaks inside, down into turn 10, and makes a pass. I can't remember the last time I saw a pass into that turn.
It's going to take a brave move for the four chicanes here. No side-by-side yet from Sanchez. Trangarade will have to hold on through a tight section. White flag coming to checker flag now. Sanchez needs a big corner exit here. Hard through the corner towards the final chicane. A slide for Trangarade. He hits the turtles. Sanchez with the pull. Side by side, they all slide. Trangarade wins it. My goodness, what happened?
Is that going to be enough to counteract anything? That's a battle for the lead as well. Frisha trying around the outside now. He's going to try to hold it out, but again, Poli Partonen able to hold it out. Oh my goodness.
And in the back, you can just see that is Juan Costa looking out of place, trying to get on the inside of Jukka Tolonen as they come around side by side and just shoved out to the grass. Thomas Simon has struck. He struck again, the second time in two corners. On the inside, going around the Lesbo 1 into Lesbo 2. Jukka Tolonen and Thomas Simon going at it. As we jump back to the car number 66 in ninth position, that is going to be Steve Bray, looking to make the move on Alexander Wilfred on the outside, making it nice and tidy. Hold on to your hats, come on. Don't do it now, gentlemen. It's still a bit too early. Oh, on the inside, still holding. So he's hugging the inside curve as much as he can. Steve Dwyer on the last corner of the last lap makes a move and overtakes to take 8th position.
I think he has as well, but here comes the move for Philip Hammer. It's going to be down to the inside, going through the first corner, done and dusted. Lucetta tries to fight him back a little bit, but it's a little bit too late. But no, Lucetta's going to have the inside coming up the rise to Druids.
And in through Druids goes the slides. Philip Hammer is not able to make it effective on the outside, but on the inside.
Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced SimRacing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client. And like we did today, we install a D-box system. We install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after, we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware, and that's why we want to create something that's really going to reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us. You can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an advanced sim racing customer.
Just a few weeks ago, we saw a thrilling conclusion to two long and hard-fought championship battles. Bradley Holly and Abner Acosta both have titles to defend. What a year 2021 has been. And in typical iRacing fashion, we're getting a head start on 2022. The Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series begins anew at the brilliant Iowa Speedway, and you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hello everyone, I'm Reese Gardner, and with me in the booth is Joey Tebben. Behind the scenes is our director, Zach Johnson, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Branded as the fastest short track on the planet, Iowa is relatively young, opening in 2006, but in the short time it's been open, it's certainly made a name for itself. Let's check out the track guide to see what the drivers are up against tonight.
Newton, Iowa, a smaller town situated in the middle of Jasper County, perhaps best known for being the former home of Maytag and Iowa Speedway, where we find ourselves today. Iowa Speedway is perhaps the best known oval out there not to have a NASCAR Cup Series date. Its 0.88 mile layout has offered a ton of exciting short track races over the years. The Xfinity Series, Gander Trucks, IndyCar, ARCA, and Whelen Modifieds all make trips here every summer. USAC, Grand Am Sports Cars, and several other series have come here over the years, and the track is used all year round for driving schools and other events on the oval and road course. Rusty Wallace helped design Iowa, and he patterned it off a track he saw a lot of success at over the years, Richmond, but it's a little larger and faster. The 12 to 14 degrees of progressive banking in these wide corners really can help get things going. Just watch out for the bumps, as the Midwestern winters have taken a toll on the surface. And a real quick did you know? This track was one of the first built without concrete exterior track walls. It was completely designed with the safer barrier in mind. Enjoy the show at Iowa Speedway.
Well, Iowa Speedway, a brilliant oval racing circuit, more famous for its IndyCar races, but certainly it is a fixture on the lower division NASCAR schedules in real life, and this is the lay of the land. Under a mile, 1.41 kilometers for those of us like me who live in metric land, but a D-shaped oval, which means the drivers are going to have to approach turns 1 and 2 very differently from turns 3 and 4. Not only that, but watching the drivers in practice, it certainly seems that there's some very hefty bumps on the inside of turns 1 and 2 down low, and you'll be seeing the drivers mostly staying a lane up, I think, just to avoid those bumps down there. We've got 115 laps coming up for you tonight, and it's brought to you by the following sponsors. Our broadcast is brought to you by ASR, owned and operated by passionate sim racers. Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminium profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com. It's also sponsored by RaceLab. RaceLab helps you to improve your driving skills. With modern overlays, race statistics, and native VR integration, you can get the best out of iRacing. Start using it now for free at racelab.app. Today's broadcast is also proudly sponsored by ButtKicker. ButtKicker products add an incredible immersion and realism to any game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Check them out at thebutkicker.com. And finally, the PRL NASCAR Truck Series is brought to you by NinjaTrader. Ready to compete against the financial markets? Supporting over 60,000 users across the globe, NinjaTrader provides award-winning trading software and brokerage services. NinjaTrader is always free to use for advanced charting, backtesting, and trade simulation. Visit ninjatrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator and start tracking your performance. Well, Joey, after a little bit of a technical hiccup, it seems that you are back, and the race details for tonight. You certainly raced a lot at Iowa and the trucks in the past, and you've told me before we've gone live that this is one of your favorite tracks to race the truck at, and why is that?
It is. It's an absolutely incredible track, and it holds a soft spot in my heart because this was the first track I ever raced on in the C-Fixed Truck Series on iRacing. This was my jump up into the NASCAR ranks of oval racing, but we've got a lot of experienced drivers in the field tonight, the likes of your champion Abner Acosta, your season champion Bradley Holly. They're all back, and there's a couple fresh faces in the field. They'll be taking on 115 laps here at the Iowa Speedway. They've got 4 tire sets total, but there's no spare truck, so if you get into an incident, you're going to have to get that fixed the old-fashioned way. It is a fixed setup, so there's no games to be played there, and there's a 24 incident limit, which may actually be a problem. At a short little bull ring like this, there can be contact, there can be comings together, and while a 24 incident limit it's pretty nice, it's pretty lenient, it's still possible to hit that. I hope nobody does, but it is possible.
Yeah, that it is. In fact, race director Charles Sumner making his post in the Precision Racing League forums, highlighting a few rules for tonight for the drivers. On restarts, they are not allowed to go 3 wide before turn 1. This track has produced a little bit of a caution fest in the other divisions in the Precision Racing League, but the NASCAR Truck Series has been very good for lack of cautions over the last season. The drivers have really upped their game, so he is hoping that they will be able to make it a nice clean race tonight. But as you can see, they're pushing incredibly hard here in the final minutes of the practice session. Lots of tires being rubbed up against the wall.
And even just here in practice, you can see here as we ride on board, let's see, does he go for Thomas Sink goes for the middle line here. You can see there's a little bit of bumpiness on entry. It's not too bad, but if you go to the high line in turn 1, you go all the way up against the wall, there's an absolutely massive bump up there that can cause problems. That can spit you straight into the wall. So while the high line might be the place you want to be later in the race with those older tires, you're gonna have to make attention to that bump, because it is there and it will spit you into the wall if you're not careful. But Thomas Sink here, an experienced driver in that number 48 truck, seems happy to just run about half a seam up above the bottom line, and it's working out for him in practice so far. Wasn't working out so well for that white truck there, but for now, Thomas Sink looks like he is in control of this place. As I say that, he washes up into the wall.
Oh, yeah, and down onto the apron goes another truck. Checking out the number 14 of Ryan Goodall. He is currently 5th place in the practice session, and these times are incredibly close as we enter the final 30 seconds. Bradley Holly is P1 at the moment, and he's 0.003 of a second ahead of Abner Acosta. Now, those two battled hard and fast right to the end for the year-long championship of 2021. Bradley Holly ended up coming out on top there, and Abner Acosta taking the 2021 Season 4 title. Looks like it's going to be business as usual for those two up at the front. Ricky Barbary as well. He's currently in 6th here in the number 54, looking very good as the checkered flag flies in the practice session. We're still in daytime conditions here at Iowa Speedway, and that's what the drivers are going to have to deal with here in the qualifying session. Every driver gets 2 laps with which to set their time for the grid. They only have 5 minutes to do it, so you have to pick your time.
And this is not a restrictor plate track. This is not a Michigan or a Fontana. You're going to want to nail that first lap just to get a banker lap down. You can't really do any special technique to keep the speed up on that first lap and then go for a banker on your second. You really want both of those laps to matter. Now, while you can run high here, as the driver of the number 18 truck is going to run a little bit high here through turns 3 and 4 to start off this lap as quickly as he can, both laps will matter. Rob Neller here Both laps will matter for him. Does he dive it down all the way to the bottom? Not all the way to the bottom. He's about a quarter of a seam above the yellow line there, but it looks like it's working out for him. And Rob Neller in the number 18 will likely be the first driver to put a time on the board here.
Seems that way indeed, and I mean, you can see there just from the behavior of the truck, turns 3 and 4 a lot less bumpy than turns 1 and 2 down low. 23.621 for Rob Neller, and he is provisional P1. Austin Hunter puts in a time. Doyle Lawrence then goes to P1. Ryan Travis slots into 4th fastest. CM Pennington, meanwhile, up into 3rd place. The times are absolutely streaming in here at the moment.
And you can see that Neller's able to just hold a little bit extra speed coming onto the curved front straight here. That's just because of the way the track is shaped. It's a D-shaped oval. The exit of turn 2 is just a little bit tighter because you're going basically straight into a straight wall on the back straight. But as you go through turn 4 on the curved front straight, the track curves away from you, so you can get a little bit more throttle, a little bit more of a run, and it's a little bit more of a comfortable of an experience there. But as a 7/8 of a mile oval, you never really stop turning, but the exit of turn 4 is critical. You got to carry as much speed as possible, and unfortunately for the rest of the field, it seems like Doyle Lawrence carried more speed than just about anybody else.
Yeah, it's a pretty good time there from Doyle Lawrence, and Mark Kalin able to get within 0.05 of a second of him so far. Here's James Dewar. He's already set his first lap, 24.001. What's his second lap going to be? 23.8. That's a bit better. He will stay in about 15th place there as things stand at the moment. Adam Shane, meanwhile, he's just gone to P1 in the number 79, 23.518. Remember, we were seeing 23.4s in the practice session, and the front runners from practice have yet to come out on track. With the shortness of the lap around here, you can definitely afford to go out in maybe the final 90 seconds or so of the qualifying session and set both of your laps, but it's going to be borderline. With these solo qualifying sessions, the moment the clock hits 0, you're done. You can't even finish a lap if you started one.
And it's a risk, too, because if you just get a little bit loose, maybe you tap the wall, you've got no time to spare. You don't have time to go back to the pits to reset to get more laps in. So while I get why they would wait until the last second of the session, it doesn't really have much effect. This isn't really the IndyCar where every single millisecond of time, every single millisecond of the degree the track cools down really matters. This isn't really like that. So I would not wait until the last 90 seconds, but as we're in the last 90 seconds, here you see Abner Acosta finally setting his first lap, and he puts a full 10th on the field, so he's not waiting for anybody.
There we go. Abner Acosta showing his brilliant run of form that he's carried throughout 2021. Coming from a bit of a road racing background as Abner Acosta, as Danny Cervantes slots himself into P2, 600ths behind. Abner not able to improve on his second lap, but doesn't really need to. That is a bloody good time, I have to say. But Bradley Holly, look at him on his first lap. 23.39, puts 100th of a second between himself and his championship rival from last season.
Yeah, Acosta may have done a bloody good lap, but Bradley did a Holly good lap, and that puts him up on the top by 100th of a second. So it's not a large gap, but Holly was 3rd in practice, and the second lap doesn't matter. He immediately loses it on exit. But at the moment, he is on pole, unless the old 927 of Bob Clement can pull something out here.
Yeah, let's see what Clement can do. It actually looks like he's abandoned his lap. He's already done. So that basically secures it there for Bradley Holly. He is going to start 2022 Season 1 absolutely the best he can with pole position here at Iowa Speedway. The session entering its final 10 seconds now, but all of the drivers are run and done. We'll be going for 115 laps of racing very shortly. Well, with the session ticking over, it's time to go through our full grid. The number 184 of Bradley Holly will start on row 1 alongside Abner Acosta, the top 2 from last season, continuing their trend. Danny Cervantes and Thomas Sink, they were in the playoffs last season, and they start 2022 off well with 3rd and 4th. Adam Shane and Ricky Barbary starting on row 3. 7th and 8th is going to be Aaron Webb and Jeff T. Evans. Doyle Lawrence, who set the fastest time early on in the qualifying session, will start from 9th alongside Paul Williams the 2nd.
And in 11th, it is Mark Kalin alongside Adam Zemke, then Ryan Goodall and Rob Neller, who was out early in this session, Michael Lemieux and CM Punk Pennington round out row 8, Colton Lane and Brendan Chatley, and then row 10 is rounded out by Charles Sumner and Clayton Curry, but there's still 14 more drivers in this field.
Yeah, there's plenty of drivers here tonight. Austin Hunter and Dalton Geyer are going to start on row 11. It's Jim Westerfield and Joshua Tellez who start 23rd and 24th. Ryan Traver and Danik Momi sharing row lucky 13. Baron Hilton and Nicholas Hunter, 27th and 28th. The top 30 rounded out by James Dewar and Jose Medina.
And we got 4 more down at the bottom. A couple of new names: Daniel A. Lee, Randy Caldwell, Kaylee Simmons, a rookie this season, and old Bob Clement, unfortunately, didn't set a lap in qualifying. He'll be starting shotgun on the field, but he'll be hoping to avoid any carnage we get on lap 1. That's the advantage the starting at the back gets. But if we're clean through the first couple laps, he's not in good shape for the moment. But that's a 34-car field. It's probably one of the biggest fields we're going to get for the season, and we're going to somehow attempt to pack him into 7/8 of a mile here.
Yeah, we will. And as I alluded to a little earlier, Race Direction has been very clear that they want clean racing here at Iowa. There's been plenty of recommendations made by Charles Sumner in the forums. As we mentioned, you are not allowed to go 3 wide on a start or a restart until you get to turn 1. So the drivers are going to have to be very careful when they put the power down. There's also no funny business on pit road. Keep right when traveling down pit road. Steady speed, no just driving through pit boxes endlessly, is what Charles Sumner has said. And pit road is going to factor quite a bit into this one. The tyres are the main strategy item in NASCAR trucks. These things are fueled up to run to the end, and refueling isn't really a thing in NASCAR trucks. And the drivers will only get 4 sets of tyres, the one that they start on plus 3 more. So they have to be careful about when they use them.
They do have to be careful about when to use them, and it seems like on these oval races in the PRL, the tire strategy is always the thing that decides the long green flag runs, and it's the drivers who are especially good at saving those tires that usually come out on top. And unfortunately for the rest of the field, the 2 drivers that usually have the spotlight put on them for being good at saving tires are Bradley Holly and Abner Acosta. So that's bad news for the other 32 drivers in the field. If we do go for multiple long green flag runs, those 2 are going to be the ones to watch out for, because they've got so much experience and they're so very competent at saving tires.
Absolutely. I marveled throughout last season at just how they were able to make their tyres last. And Bradley Holly, down in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen there, he is the driver we're sitting with on the Zoom feed. You'll be able to get an eye into his real-life situation as he drives his virtual car around this virtual racetrack. Of course, all laser scanned, as with everything in the iRacing service. Brilliant circuit, Iowa Speedway, and we're about to go racing. It's 2 pace laps because the track is under a mile long, and the pace car will pull into the pits momentarily. There it goes. When does Bradley Holly decide to put the hammer down? The Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series for 2022 Season 1 is go, and it's a really even start between our front runners there, an even start throughout most of the field, but it is Bradley Holly who leads the way in turn 1, cuts down very low Abner Acosta. He's just slipped ahead of Danny Cervantes there, and he is able to take his line. The top 2 single file, a lot of other drivers in the field going too wide through these turns. Cervantes seems to be doing a good job there of trying to keep Thomas Sink behind him, but Ricky Barbary is already making up positions here. He's made up 5th, and now he's going to go for 4th. Little bit of oversteer on the way into turns 1 and 2. Looks like Ricky Barbary is on a mission here.
The driver of the number 54 car to the inside of Thomas Sink gets a little bit of a wiggle there on the high line on one of the bumps. Barbary almost below the yellow-orange line down there on the bottom. He's not able to make the move on the bottom, though. Sink is going to hang on. He's going to slot into 5th. And somehow, I was watching all 34 drivers in this field. It looks like 33 out of 34 of them made it through. Unfortunately, CM Pennington, I don't think he made it to the grid in the first place. So I think we were clean for the entirety of these first 3 laps.
Amazing stuff there. Hopefully it continues. Looking a little bit further back in the field, I noticed Aaron Webb having a couple of issues putting the power down in the number 585. He's currently battling with Doyle Lawrence for 8th position there, and they've got their own pack with them. The likes of Mark Kalin, Ryan Goodall, and Paul Williams down there as well. Plenty of two-wide running going on there in the midfield, but up the front, it is certainly a race between Bradley Holly, Abner Acosta, and Danny Cervantes. And Abner didn't get the best exit out of turn 4. He's starting to come under pressure from the number 25 of Danny Cervantes.
But the question is, where does Cervantes make the move? Does he send it to the inside? Will Abner let him do that, or does he go around the outside? Right now, it looks like the outside is the place to be, as that's where the driver of the number 25 United States Postal Service truck sends it out there. But unfortunately, the shorter line, at least at the moment, works out for Abner Acosta, and the top 3 still in formation. And just a brief update on CM Pennington, who I mentioned, he did make the grid, and unfortunately, he had the worst possible luck. He got disconnected as the race started. So that's terrible luck for Mr. Pennington. Hopefully he'll be back to pick up some laps, but that's bad luck to start the season already.
Yeah, certainly is. Commiserations go to CM Pennington there. The top 3 are breaking away from the rest of the field here. Thomas Sink just isn't able to keep up with Cervantes and Acosta. And Bradley Holly, he is wasting no time trying to put some space between himself and Abner at the moment. There's about a car length between them as the majority of the field goes into single file. Noticing that Holly is starting to run a lane up from the bottom there in turns 3 and 4, just looking after his tyres. But Abner Acosta seems to be committing to that low line, that hyper low line in turns 3 and 4 at least. He does stay a little bit up from the apron in turns 1 and 2. Looking a bit further back in the field, seeing a bit of two-wide running, Doyle Lawrence in the number 10, battling for 10th place with Ryan Goodall. Goodall in the number 14, he's gotten a great run around the outside of turns 3 and 4, but he can't get ahead before they get into turns 1 and 2. And Doyle Lawrence, he absolutely fired it in, almost collected the quarter of Mark Kalin.
Yeah, unfortunately for Ryan Goodall, he does have Mark Kalin up there, who's also trying to run the high line. So while he might have the speed on the number 9 car, he's not able to do anything with it because Mark Kalin was just plugging the hole up there. But as Kalin pulls ahead just a little bit, the number 14 of Ryan Goodall is able to get ahead. Doyle Lawrence falling back here. Now he's under fire. He's in touching distance from Paul Williams, the second, but he is able to slot in there up on the high line. It's single file for about 14 cars back.
And that will certainly be welcome for a few drivers at least. Ricky Barbary, oh my goodness, that was a big oversteer moment there alongside Thomas Sink. He has to fall back behind. It seems that Danny Cervantes has lost a little bit of time there as well. Either that or the rest of the field is starting to catch up to the top 3 now after that quite scintillating first few laps. And have a look at them all running extra wide of the apron in turns 3 and 4. They are definitely in tyre conservation mode now. And Joey, you've got experience racing these trucks here at Iowa. How long does a set of tyres usually last on a green flag run?
Well, that is a great question because these drivers are far better at saving the tires for the most part than I am, especially Acosta and Holly here up front. So I honestly could not tell you how long they're going to be able to take it here. 115 laps in this race. We have 7/8 of a mile of a track here, so it's a little bit less than 100 miles in this race. I honestly could not tell you what the dominant strategy is going to be here. I wonder if we go long green enough, could a one stop actually work? It would be tricky, but could you save your tires up to lap 62, 63 and do a one stop? I don't know. Will someone be crazy enough to try it? We'll have to see.
Yeah, we will have to see. I mean, you've told me that this is no Darlington when it comes to being hard on the tires. You know, tracks like Darlington and Atlanta Motor Speedway absolutely shred the tires, and there's a big drop-off in pace. But the surface here at Iowa is a little better. So we'll have to wait and see as the number 44 there having a little bit of an issue. That is CM Pennington actually re-entering the circuit. He's back in the running here in the race. He is about 12 laps down from everyone else, but at the very least he's out there, and getting a classified finish is incredibly important. Every position pays out points in this series.
And it's only race 1 of the season, so you have no idea when you're going to need those extra points. So while he is 12 laps down, there's 100 more laps in this race. Anything can happen. 2 incidents, that's 2 positions. 10 incidents, that's 10 positions. So that's why CM Pennington's getting back out there, and I always applaud that kind of spirit. Getting back out there, even in the face of misfortune, ticking off all the laps you can, getting all the experience you can, and hopefully he'll have a little bit of the spoils of war for his efforts here, and hopefully he'll be able to make up a couple more positions over the course of tonight.
Yeah, certainly hope so too. That was a nice bit of racing we just saw there between Colton Lane and Doyle Lawrence running side by side. It seems that Doyle can't keep himself out of a battle here, and he's in a 4-car train at the moment. The 2 cars behind him, Adam Zemke, who won the opening round of 2021 Season 4, and Michael Lemieux behind them in the number 40 as well. Nice little battle pack there. Noticing that Paul Williams II might be lining up a move on Ryan Goodall. It was a much better exit from him coming down turns 3 and 4, but Zemke to the inside of Doyle Lawrence. Can he get it done? Lawrence with the slightly wider line, not working the tyres as hard, and a straighter exit results in a much better run down the straight, but they are really pushing it here in turns 3 and 4, and it seems that Zemke has managed to hook up the throttle very nicely, and he might just get the position here at the start of lap 19.
Yeah, Lawrence is just washing up a little bit on the exit of 4. He's maybe just has a little bit less tire life underneath that car compared to Adam Zemke, and there goes Zemke completely clear through turn 2. So he set that move up for about 2 laps, and he finally got it done. So we'll see if Zemke can continue his charge forward. He actually lost 2 positions from the start. He started 12th. He's up to 13th now, and he's got to keep moving here if he wants to maintain that qualifying position or even better. And Doyle Lawrence, if he's already fading up the track, he's going to be in bad shape a little bit later on in this run in terms of tire life. So hopefully he can cool those tires down just a little bit, nurse them a little bit further in the race. But at the moment, it looks like he is struggling, and Michael Lemieux is going to be the next driver to take advantage of that.
Yeah, Lemieux could be up 1 position by the end of this if he gets his way. In terms of positions gained and lost, as Colton Lane gets past Ryan Goodall, Colton is now equal best in terms of positions gained with James Dewar. They have gained 6 positions each in the first 21 laps. That's a very good run, but of course, there's every chance that things might not work out for them at the end of the tyre stint if they work them a bit too hard this early on.
And up front, Abner Acosta is on the attack. He's not just content to stick behind Bradley Holly and save his tires for a little bit. He has been sending it down to the bottom seemingly every lap for the last 5 laps, and he actually gets alongside Holly, if for but a moment. But unfortunately, that outside line working out way better for the driver of the number 184. And Abner has not been able to make the move just yet, and he hasn't been able to save his tires better than Holly, too, because he's trying to make these aggressive moves. So I wonder, will it eventually work out for Abner, or will this all be for nothing? I'm not sure. He needs Holly to make a mistake, and that doesn't happen often.
No, certainly not. Bradley Holly's got his head screwed on pretty much every time he goes out on track. You can say the same for Abner Acosta as well, but of course, Abner, coming from the road racing background he has, it's been a big learning experience for him in ovals in the past year or so, and I gotta say, he's certainly now racing like he's been an oval racer for years. Look at him working that low line there, and actually getting a bit of an equal exit with Bradley Holly coming onto the start-finish stretch here at Iowa. A little bit better that time around. Holly is running a little bit lower on these laps, maybe just working the tyres a little bit harder, trying his best to keep Abner Acosta behind. He doesn't want to leave the door too wide open, but coming into turns 3 and 4, he definitely prefers that super high line, if I can English.
Well, Acosta does slot in behind Holly again. It's just seems like it's the same thing, laps and laps and laps again. But eventually, Abner must be able to get by because he's closer than he ever has been. But that last lap, that was as close as he's been, was not able to make the move. Once again, it's the tail we've seen for the last 10 laps, sends it down to the bottom, but he's even further away than he was last time. He needs to figure out a way to get that momentum up just a little bit more. And looking up the road, there is a driver, Kaylee Simmons, the driver of the number 29, one of our rookies this season. That's going to be lap traffic up there, and it's only about 5 seconds ahead. So they're going to have to worry about that, Bradley Holly and Abner Acosta are, and they're going to hope that Kaylee gets out of the way quickly.
They're running around 9/10 of a second faster than Kaylee at the moment, so yeah, they should catch them up really soon. And that will certainly make things a little bit more difficult for the drivers making their way through. In terms of incidents, I saw you mention that the number 54 and the number 7, Ricky Barbary, and the number 7 is Paul Williams II, both getting into the wall in the last couple of laps, but nothing too major. We don't have a caution just yet. There's only minor damage to those trucks, so they've been able to continue.
But if we look back at the number 7 car, you can see the damage that the side of the car has taken. It wasn't the worst wall impact I've ever seen, but it still was a wall impact. I saw Ricky Barbary get into the wall in about 6th place, and I think Paul Williams might have had a little bit of target fixation from looking up the road, because he did exactly the same thing. Slammed the outside of the turn 4 wall as we go 4 wide here.
Hello.
But he stays out of it this time.
Yeah, this is the battle for 8th position. Colton Lane on the outside, and Mark Kalin as well down there in the number 62. Aaron Webb, Ryan Goodall. Actually, we're looking at a different section of the field there for the time being. Some incredible racing going on throughout the field. The car is spun, and that's the number 40 of Michael Lemieux making contact with Clayton Curry, and the first caution of the night is out.
We made it 30 good laps, but unfortunately, Lemieux in the number 40 and Curry, it looks like they just might have met in the middle, or did they? We'll have to... Oh dear, that's some of the worst netcode I've ever seen. The 18 car on the inside, Rob Neller lost it and blinked out and hit Lemieux somehow.
Well, it actually looks like they were about to go 3 wide there. Nella made contact there with Clayton Curry, and Curry was sent up into Lemieux. So Michael Lemieux, an innocent victim there.
Yeah, that's the problem with the internet here. On my screen, the 82 truck was completely gone. He wasn't even there, so I didn't even see that the 82 had a part in that. But unfortunately, he was just stuck in the middle there, and like you said, Lemieux, the innocent bystander, but unfortunately, he took the brunt of the damage there.
Yeah, it's a real shame there for Lemieux. Hopefully he won't have to spend too long in the pits getting repairs done. Remember, no spare truck here, but have a look at everyone filing into the pits. They are well aware that tyre life was going to be an issue there after the first 32 laps, so that's pretty much the entire field in the pit lane. One truck has stayed out, and that is Clayton Curry. And I'm not too sure why that's happened. I think he's just waiting to take his own pit stop under some less stressful conditions. But Bradley Holly and Abner Acosta there in the first 2 pit stalls getting their tyre changes done, and I would imagine that it's all 4 tyres getting changed there. It doesn't make much sense to only change right sides.
What I think Curry is doing here by staying out is he's trying to maximize the amount of time he can sit in the pits to get that damage fixed, because this is the number 82 truck that was in the middle of that incident. So he's going to bring it down pit road here, I think, and get as much damage as he possibly can get fixed. And he's got a couple seconds back to Bradley Holly and the rest of the gang. Well, about 2 seconds now as they've caught up under caution, but he's just trying to give himself as much time to sit in the pits to get as much damage as possible fixed and also not go a lap down.
Yeah, and that's definitely a big danger here at short tracks like Iowa. You know, the lap being as short as it is, if you take a pit stop that takes a bit too long under caution, you are in danger of going a lap down. God forbid you pit under green flag, you could potentially lose 2 laps.
Yeah, and you definitely do not want to lose 2 laps, because that's 2 lucky dogs you need to get, or 2 wave arounds, however they come around. So losing 1 lap, it's not the end of the world, because there's not many cars that are a lap down. If we get another caution, you will be the first driver waved around, guaranteed, because CM Pennington's so much further back. But I'm looking at Clayton Curry in the pits. Is he even going to make it out ahead of Holly? He's going to have to get out soon, because he's still stuck in there. If he has required repairs, he might be in bad shape here. You see the pace car in the background of your screen going through turns 3 and 4. He's got to hit the throttle now if he can, but unfortunately, I think he's just taking too big of an impact. I think the required repairs are holding him in there, and oh, there he goes. Is he going to beat him out, though? Is it Lightning McQueen situation? Is he going to have to pass the pace car?
I think it might be just in time here. Yeah, he's going to make it out just ahead of everyone else, so breathe a sigh of relief, Clayton Curry. You're still in the game.
50 seconds of repairs, but unfortunately, that doesn't look like it's done quite enough, because that truck still looks quite crunkled on the nose and on the rear end. And unfortunately, when you got both ends of the truck damaged, you're not going to be in great shape. And I don't believe he took tires or fuel either. I don't know if he's going to be able to repair much coming down pit road this time, but maybe a couple extra seconds as he waits for Holly. He will bring it down pit road again, and we should be going green here. And maybe the next time by, yeah, should be.
Yeah, lights are still on the pace car. Once they go off, that is the signal that usually there is one lap to go until the green flag flies. So everyone's just keeping it nice and smooth here under caution. Not much in the way of weaving or anything like that. You want to try and preserve these tyres as much as possible, but with that, it does seem that Clayton Curry is going to go a lap down on the rest of the field and could potentially be in danger of falling behind Michael Lemieux as well, who is a lap down. And word from our director, Zach Johnson, Clayton Curry actually missed his pit stall when he went to go in the second time, so that's cost him even more time that he didn't need to lose.
Yeah, that's just adding insult to injury for Clayton Curry, unfortunately, and looks like he's going to be in a battle with Michael Lemieux here as the lucky dog. If we do ever get a second caution, he's going to be fighting with him for that in about 32nd, and unfortunately, that's about it for now.
Well, they form up two wide, two rows, about 16, 17 deep on either side as the pace car prepares to enter the pits, and we'll go back racing here at Iowa Speedway. Bradley Holly versus Abner Acosta as usual, and Bradley Holly gets a much better run. So does Danny Cervantes. Acosta's going to fall down into third when they get to turn one for the first time. And no three wide in the field before turn one as expected and as outlined in the rules. So the top three, Bradley Holly, Danny Cervantes and Abner Acosta. But it could be Abner Acosta in second place if that move is anything to go by. Straight down to the inside, pushes up the circuit a little bit, but still leaves Danny Cervantes just enough room to keep that outside line. Will Abner Acosta be able to secure second place here? Just look at how heavy those bumps are on the inside of turns 1 and 2, but Acosta is clear just about of Cervantes, maybe one more corner. But Bradley Holly, he'll certainly be starting to feel the pressure if those kinds of moves are anything to go by. But have a look at that. Danny Cervantes, he's still able to get a good exit here on Abner Acosta. He's compromising.
And that's the power of that high line. It's working out very well for Cervantes. It isn't even the highest line, it's just the middle line, and it is working out quite well for him as he is holding Acosta at bay, and they actually aren't losing much ground to Holly either, so this isn't the worst news for both of them. They can continue to fight, they will continue to slow each other down, but for the moment it looks like they are able to hold with Holly, and that's great news for them and bad news for Brad because he's got two hungry Chargers right behind him.
Yes, indeed, and they are looking incredibly hungry, but there's a caution out. And there's been an incident further back in the field. Goodness me, that is the number 24 of Jose Medina, who's gone for a bit of a spin, and it looks like it was instigated by contact with Bob Clement.
Yeah, I'm looking at the replay here. I can actually see both cars this time. Thank you very much. And it looks like, unfortunately, Bob Clement just drove straight into the back of the driver, the number 24. Here we go. Here you see the bright green car, bright green truck, rather, of Bob Clement. And bam, he just pile drives the 24. Jose, the funky cold Medina, taken out, unfortunately, in his first race of the year already. I think Kaylee Simmons might have taken a bite out of him as she drove into the incident there. But yeah, Kaylee Simmons in the pits now. So watch the blue and black number 29 truck coming in here. One of the private label team hype drivers, one of the rookies on that team. Bang.
Oh, yeah. And the engine was blown as a result of that. So poor Kaylee Simmons, she's coasted to a stop on pit exit, and she's had to escape back to the garage. She'll be spending quite a bit of time sat in the pits there. That is a real shame, but you know, I suppose a baptism of fire is par for the course in oval racing. It's brutal at the best of times.
And unfortunately, the worst part of some of these incidents at a short track like Iowa, the person who caused the incident just gets away with it and is still hanging out in the pack. Bob Clement looks like he got minimal damage from driving through Jose Medina, so he's still out there. Jose Medina brings that truck down into the pits. the festive Rudolph truck. That's what it looks like to me. The driver of the number 24 getting in the holiday spirit here. But unfortunately, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, well, actually the nose looks pretty okay. It's more the rear that's in bad shape. Oh my goodness, that is a beautiful sight.
Oh yeah, that is a lovely truck. We had a few more visitors on pit road. Paul Williams II, Joshua Tellez is in there. Of course, we have Medina, and I think I might have seen Clayton Curry jump back in for a little bit more damage repair. I can't be sure, but he's currently at the rear of the field as everyone gets back going. Jose Medina, looks like he's got his damage mostly repaired. Or repaired to a suitable standard that he can get back out on track. The number 24 Toyota Tundra exits the pits just ahead of the rest of the field. And he's just come back in again for some more damage repair. So that's going to be quite a while spent stationary there for Jose. But that's not going to be any concern to these drivers up at the front. Abner Acosta was able to hold on to second versus Danny Cervantes. He was just ahead when the caution came out, and that's going to be crucial here for the restart. Abner's going to have to keep a very close eye on Bradley Holly and when he decides to go.
He is. Bradley kind of got Abner, he caught him sleeping on that restart there. He just left him in the dust, and that allowed Cervantes to get to the inside of Acosta. But this time it'll be Cervantes on the outside, like you say. So Acosta should be able to take advantage of that if he can get a good enough start. And just looking at the back of the field, a brief update on the lucky dog situation. I said Lemieux and Curry were going to be racing for it. Lemieux won it. He's back on the lead lap, and he also comes down pit road to get some extra damage fixed and put some extra tires on that truck, I believe. So he might be in good shape here. He's back into the top 30. The front of that truck and the rear of it have seen better days. I think he's lost about 2 feet on the wheelbase of that truck. That thing's so crushed in, but he's on the lead lap at least, so it could be worse.
Well, Iowa's a pretty tight track, so a shorter wheelbase, if anything, is an advantage, isn't it?
Of course, he's like one of those pro trucks that races in some of the support races. So maybe he'll be faster. Maybe he's found an exploit.
Potentially. We'll have to wait and see what the behavior of the number 40 is like under green flag conditions, and potentially see if any drivers decide to crush their trucks in, try and get an advantage on these tighter tracks. Well, lights are out on the pace car. We're going to be going green. Again, it's all going to be about how Bradley Holly executes this restart. He went a little earlier on the previous restart, so Abner Acosta, I think, will be wise to that. He and Bradley Holly, they've raced each other so much, and for such high stakes, they know each other very well, and they've always been respectful racing each other as well, and that's very important. We'll see how things go for them when the green flag drops next. A little bit of a position update here. We still have 2 drivers, or actually 3 drivers now equal on positions gained. It's 10 each for Colton Lane, James Dewar, and Bob Clement as we prepare to go green for the 3rd time here at Iowa Speedway. In comes the pace car. When does Bradley Holly decide to put the hammer down? Right now. And he's taken Abner Acosta by surprise again. It looks like Danny Cervantes is going to completely clear him before they get to turn 1 this time. And Acosta getting bumped from behind by Thomas Sink, who really wants to get going. He's got Jeff Evans on his inside in that bright pink number 41 truck, but gets a slightly better exit round the outside. How long is this green flag period going to last? A lot of drivers will be hoping for a nice long green flag run here, but Danny Cervantes securing 2nd place, and he has got a great run on Bradley Holly. Holly covers him going into turns 1 and 2.
But Cervantes was able to use that outside line in previous laps against Acosta. Is it going to work against Holly? It looks like he's just going to stay in line for the moment through turns 3 and 4. Running just a little bit higher line than Holly, but really not much higher. He's just running in the tire tracks of the number 184 truck. Same thing in turns 1 and 2, just a little bit higher. He takes a peek up there, but it's just too early in the run, I think, for that to actually do anything. But he does have the momentum. He has a run down the back straight, but I think he's happy to stay in line, at least for the moment.
Absolutely chucking it in on the outside was Thomas Sink versus Abner Acosta, and he's actually lined up the exit really well. Acosta's exits have been generally pretty weak, it seems, in these green flag conditions, thanks to the tighter line he's running, and a little bit of a technical issue there, a bit of blinking for Abner Acosta. He will want to minimize that. This is going to be crucial here. Down to the inside, all of the top three. No space being left on the lane down the bottom, but Cervantes, he's starting to put some Morse code on the rear bumper of Bradley Holly's truck. To the outside again in turns 1 and 2. Holly switching down to the extreme inside line, and it seems that's a bit of a change of tactics for him. Remember, he was running a bit higher before.
And Cervantes tries to run a little bit higher as well. Acosta takes advantage by running that lower line again. Cervantes actually lost a little bit of ground to Bradley Holly up there that time, and they've got a Thomas Sink right behind him. Sink has been running, oh dear, an even higher line than everybody else as he puts the bumper to Abner Acosta there. They got away with it. It wasn't too hard of a contact, but now the number 79 of Adam Shane gets to the inside of the 48. The bright pink number 41 of Jeff Evans to the inside as well. This is a heck of a gaggle here for about 5th place. And this is great news for Cervantes and Holly if these 7 can keep fighting, because they'll be allowed to streak away while these guys all keep fighting over 3rd.
Oh, man, this middle phase of the race is always pretty hectic, especially just coming out of a double caution. It seems that Abner Acosta has gotten the wheels back on the wagon somewhat. He's been able to keep Thomas Sink behind them and keep about a half a car length of gap between them. And he's starting to try and round up Danny Cervantes and Bradley Holly once again. But the battling continues behind him. Jeff Evans, he's just managed to get a better exit than Adam Shane. As just behind them, all the way down to the inside, Ryan Goodall trying to take the position from Ricky Barbre. They're fighting over 8th and 9th once again.
I think I saw about 5 different lines being used on the exit of turn 4 there. So that just goes to show the difference in lines these drivers are taking, the difference in tire life, the difference in tire wear between every single driver in this field. Look at them spread out here on the exit of turn 4. There it is again. There's about 5 different lines being used. Evans on the top, then everybody behind him just slowly further and further down. But down the front straight, they all meet back in the middle again at single file down the front straight. And Thomas Sink, he gets a nose alongside Acosta, but he can't do anything with it. He's going to have to stay in line again.
Yes, indeed. And Acosta seems very comfortable down on the extreme bottom, and Bradley Holly, well, he is a picture of comfort at the moment. I think once those first few laps were done, he's really gotten into a rhythm and he started to streak away from Danny Cervantes. Last lap from Holly was a 24.292. It was a 24.459 for Danny Cervantes. He's starting to fall back a little, maybe overcooking his tires in those first few laps.
That's entirely possible on the first couple laps. When you're getting that aggressive, when you're trying to race with a driver you really want to beat, a driver who won the overall championship last season, it would be no surprise if Cervantes did just overcook the tires a little bit, got him a little bit too hot, and at a track like, oh, and that is a massive accident. The number 55, that's a lot of trucks involved for our 3rd caution of the night.
Oh boy, Baron Hilton going airborne, tumbling over. That's going to be one heck of a replay to take a look at. My goodness, that was quite the incident on the front stretch. Seeing a fair bit of damage. Actually, it was a slow truck. James Dewar collecting the wall there on the front stretch. And oh, there we go. He just managed to get out of the wall, but wow! Baron Hilton, talk about a wall hit. The wall hit him back.
Yeah, he got thrown into the air and he got thrown backwards, literally. That's a physics experiment for G-forces calculation if I've ever seen one. Dewar got stuck in the wall and he turned out, and unfortunately with these sticky walls, you turn off the wall a little bit too aggressively and you're going to spit yourself right back into traffic. And unfortunately, Baron Hilton was in that traffic. Ironically, he used to race a EMT-themed, ambulance-themed truck. He switched away from that, and I think he might need one.
Yes, well, we'll see how quick the medical crews are here at Virtual Iowa Speedway. No surprise that the majority of the field is coming back into the pits to get another set of tyres on there. At this stage of the race, you want to put those new tyres on every chance you get so that you still have something to work with at the end. We'll see the battle of the pit stop times here between our leaders, and yeah, the entire field is in the pits once again. Apart from CM Pennington, who is still out on track, he's going to be looking to try and get some laps back. Remember, he had those technical issues at the start of the race, and he'll be trying to get back as much time as he can. Looks to me like Danny Cervantes got a great run on pit road. Abner Acosta, not so much. He's fallen down to 4th. He's behind Doyle Lawrence, who somehow managed to vault his way up from 12th to 3rd. And I think maybe he only took right side tyres in that stop, potentially.
Yeah, he only spent 9 seconds in the pits. Everybody else was somewhere between 14 and 15. So that suggests to me that he did take 2 tires, but is that really a smart move with 56 laps left in the race? I'm not so sure, but maybe he values track position here. Track position has been pretty valuable. There hasn't been all that much shuffling overall. There's been movement, there's been hard racing, but it has been a lot of single file action in the end of it. So Doyle Lawrence clearly valuing that track position as he jumps up to 3rd place. He was down in the middle of the field in the double digits. So he jumps quite a few spots with those extra 6 seconds, and we'll see if it pays off for him. It's a worrying decision. It's a scary decision for the drivers starting behind him, but we'll see if it works.
Yeah, I get the feeling Doyle Lawrence might be banking on another caution very shortly. Then he might be able to put left side tyres on and have a reasonably fresh set, spending the same amount of time as everyone else in the pit lane, and that will really benefit him and will allow him to keep that track position potentially. We'll have to wait and see. Lucky dog, meanwhile, for Clayton Curry. He vaults around the rest of the field, and he's back on the lead lap now. So that's a nice turnaround there for Clayton Curry. James Dewar is a lap down now, thanks to the incident that brought out this caution. Baron Hilton, he is still exited from the track, and wondering, yeah, actually, both Kaylee Simmons and Baron Hilton have disconnected from the server, so we can add them to the retirement list, unfortunately.
Yeah, both of them had big old engine kablamos, and that's a 40-minute repair in the pits generally, and I don't even know if we're going to go a full 40 minutes to the end of this race. So I cannot blame them for disconnecting from the session. They weren't going to get back out anyway, and that won't be the way either of them wanted to start their seasons. But it is good news for CM Pennington, because that's 2 more points for him down there at the back. And we've still got 30 cars in the lead lap, 31 cars now, as Clayton Curry gets back on the lead lap. So it's been remarkably clean, and we are halfway through the race. So we've still got the vast majority of the field still kicking and still in perfect condition.
Yeah, that's very good to see. I think, drivers might have been expecting a real caution fest here at Iowa. It's not quite there yet. This is the 3rd caution of the night, but so far the racing has been quite clean. We haven't had basically like the likes of Martinsville last season, where there seemed to be caution after caution after caution. Drivers have really cleaned up their act here in the NASCAR Truck Series, and it's awesome to see so much hard green flag racing going on here in the first round of the season. But it looks like this caution period is coming to an end. In goes the pace car, and Bradley Holly starting from P1, as he has every time so far tonight. He goes early again. He takes everyone by surprise. Danny Cervantes manages to stay with him, but Abner Acosta might be in trouble here from Doyle Lawrence as they just about go 3 wide before turn 1. Thomas Sink being a little bit cheeky there, going to the inside, but Doyle, with less grip on his inside tyres, is starting to get swallowed up by the field. They go 3 wide behind with Jeff Evans and Adam Shane, and Lawrence, he's stuck high and dry on the high line. He continues to fall back.
Yeah, it's looking like a little bit of a Doyle spill here. He's falling back. He's almost doors Colton Lane into the corner. So lucky not to make contact with the number 60 on the exit. He's still wiggling. And that's what can happen when you've got 2 different sets of tires on the truck, 2 different wear levels. This is not working out for Doyle Lawrence. He's actually fallen back to where he would be if he took all 4 tires, and something tells me he's not done falling back.
Yeah, oh well, it was a decision that he had every right to make, going for only 2 tires, as that looks like a spinner further back. That's the number 88 of Joshua Tellez. We stay green though. It looks like he was able to keep it from completely stopping on the racetrack. But Will Lawrence in the number 9 continuing. Oh my goodness, that is a wreck, and it looks like we're going to stay green through that as well. Goodness me, that's lucky.
Remarkably, they all kept it going in a straight line, even though I saw about 3 different trucks spinning. But we are still green somehow. There's a lot of damaged trucks. I think Dalton Geyer may have been involved. The driver of the number 1 of those trucks, I don't even know. There were so many involved, but they're all still going somehow, and there's no caution.
Good stuff. Looks like Clayton Curry has brought his truck back into the pits for even more repairs, so he's going to fall down quite a bit. Potentially Clayton Curry was involved in one of those incidents, so it might be the reason he's gone down into the lane. Bradley Holly, though, still leading from Danny Cervantes. Not by much, though. Only 0.2 of a second between them at the line. Abner Acosta, another couple of tenths behind, but he's still getting pressured massively by Thomas Sink as they fall into single file.
Yeah, single file for the most part. There's a little bit of that spread that we saw in the previous run. But as the sun goes down, somebody's up in the wall. That's Colton Lane. He's going to lose the position back to Doyle Lawrence, who is actually stagnated just a little bit. He's back up into 9th. He hasn't continued to fall back as much as I thought he might, but Colton Lane's going to try and get back by here, and he'll likely succeed, as will Mark Kalin. And after that, there's quite a big gap back to the 54 of Ricky Barbary in 11th.
Well, as Doyle Lawrence's slow slide down the field continues, let's go back a little bit and check out that incident from earlier. Replay for both of these incidents that ultimately did not end in a caution. We'll first take a look at oh, goodness me, Tellez. That was a proper slide out of the corner, but he managed to gather it up. Very well done, well held from the driver of the number 88. And then here's the bigger incident. Looks to me like the number 59 getting a little tap from the back, and good avoiding action being taken there by the blue truck, but ending up taking out another 2. Amazing that we were able to stay green through that.
Yeah, that was amazing. That was Aaron Webb in the number 585 that just put the bumper to the back of Brendan Chatley, and bad luck for all of those drivers that didn't result in a caution, but they all kept it pointing in the right direction. They're all still rolling.
Oh, here we go.
Oh dear, and so much for no caution.
Yep, there we go. Speak of the devil and he shall appear. That is the number 57 of Adam Zemke, and man, poor Adam. You know, his one of his high points was definitely a victory at the opening round of last season, but his luck has been patchy since then. Ricky Barbary is, well, not doing too well down there on the apron. So looks like we might have to queue up another replay very shortly, as the drivers will reset once more.
Yeah, that's all started. He just got a little bit loose up there, and he saved it, but unfortunately just went a little bit down too low, and Zemke, again, an innocent bystander, and rides up the safer barrier. The right side of that car is going to be absolutely destroyed. The bottom of that car is going to be absolutely destroyed as well. Here you see it again from another angle. Barbary, he's just so loose. He keeps it out of the wall, but unfortunately, he can't keep it out of the Zemke that was down there too.
Yeah, it looked like potentially tyres making contact there between them that resulted in a big bounce for Adam Zemke. Innocent bystander once again. So Zemke is down in the pits at the moment. He's just managed to get that damage repaired, but he's fallen down to 29th position. Still technically on the lead lap at the moment. We'll have to wait and see. The majority of our front runners have stayed out, but Thomas Sink has decided, no, actually, he's not decided to come into the pits. That's an error on the timing on my end. My apologies. We do have a lucky dog, though. It is the number 55 of James Dewar making his way around the field. Back onto the lead lap for James.
And Doyle Lawrence did bring it down pit road to get the other half of the tires he probably wanted to take on that first pit stop. But unfortunately, in an ironic twist, Now the right sides are going to be more worn than the left sides. So he still has unmatched sets of tires. He's still not in great shape here, but he will restart in 19th. Lane also came down. Chatley got damage fixed. Geyer, Traver, Medina, Westerfield, a whole host of drivers brought it down pit road there, but not a single one of them came from the top 18.
Yeah, and I think if you're down in those final 10 or so positions in the field, you've really got nothing to lose by pitting again under this caution. If anything, you will have an advantage when they go green flag racing next. You might potentially be able to get more track position out of that. There's apparently the meatball flag was shown for Adam Zemke, and certainly makes sense riding up the safer barrier like he did. Probably snapped the drive line or something like that. Either way, doesn't look like Adam Zemke is going to be returning to the track anytime soon.
And as we cross the line here under caution, it's going to be 40 laps to go. There's only 16 minutes 30 on the clock at the moment on my screen, now down to 16 minutes 10. If we get more than one additional caution, I'm not sure we'll make this entire race. I think we might end up going to time here. It's about a 24-second lap under green flag conditions. That's a little bit over a third of a minute. I'm not going to do the live calculations, but I think we can't afford much more yellow time. I think if we go green, we'll make the whole way in the end, but if we do get one or two more cautions, the drivers are going to have to start thinking time-wise, as we only have that hour window here.
Yes, races going time certain has certainly happened many times in the past in the NASCAR Truck Series. And we're hearing 18 minutes left of the timer, so it's definitely going to be crunch time for these drivers.
And it's crunch time for everybody not named Bradley Holly, because he has been just the dominant force here. He's been the person who's been restarting in first on every single one of these starts and restarts. Nobody's been able to get him off of that high horse, and he's been doing a very good job restarting in first. He's just been streaking away from whether it's Cervantes, whether it's Acosta, whether it's Sink. He has been a master of the start and the restart, and if we only have a short run to the end, somebody's got to figure out a way to match him, as we see him in the lucky shirt there. He's talking to somebody. Who knows who that is? Probably one of his teammates, but he's going to hope to nail this restart, and he's going to hope that Cervantes and Acosta don't finally learn how to beat him, because they haven't yet so far this race.
Indeed. Well, the lights are out on the pace car, and they will be forming up into their two wide. Of course, Bradley Holly, part of the Waterback Racing squad, which is perhaps the most successful team here in the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series. Fantastic squad of drivers there, particularly in the Overdrive Racing squad that Bradley Holly is a part of. Danny Cervantes will be starting alongside him once again. Abner Acosta in third, Thomas Sink in fourth. Jeff Evans up 2 positions. It's up 12 positions for Austin Hunter. Bob Clement has up 19 places. He's the biggest mover in the field so far as they prepare to go green once again. Pace car in. Bradley Holly will put the power down nice and early. And once again, it seems Abner Acosta just not on the ball there. He's lost 2 positions there, or rather behind 2 trucks now as they make their way into turn 1. For the first time on this green flag run. That's going to be Thomas Sink up into 3rd place, but for how long? Abner Acosta really likes that very tight inside line, so he might be able to get an advantage if he plays his cards right, but Thomas Sink has the benefit of the draft here of the top 2. And Cervantes, once again, at the very start of these green flag runs, he is right on it versus Bradley Holly.
Yeah, I think he's got fantastic short run speed here, but unfortunately in the long run, at least going by the last stint, he did lose quite a bit of ground to Holly, so he's going to have to make a move the second he gets the chance, if he ever does get the chance. But unfortunately, Abner Acosta says, I want 2nd place from you. He almost gets alongside him. He almost gets to his quarter panel into turn 1, but no. They're going to have to stay in line, but Acosta on that much lower line. It's still working for him. I don't know how it continues to work, as you would think that would be wearing his tires more, but somehow it isn't.
Yeah, definitely quite a bit of wheel work going on there in the number 5, but he remains in 3rd behind Danny Cervantes as there's a bit of 2 wide racing further back. Oh, this could be another caution potentially. No, Jeff Evans manages to hold on to it. So does Adam Shane after a bit of contact down there coming into turns 3 and 4. Goodness me, how did they hold on to that?
well saved by both of them. And unfortunately, that was just kind of a copy of the situation with Jose Medina. And whoever hit him, they're lucky I didn't remember. I think it was Clement, but it was just meeting in the middle, a little bit deeper of an entry from the back, a little bit shorter of an entry from the front. They just met in the middle. Jeff Evans, the unfortunate bystander, he's still rolling, but the back of that pink truck is just absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, that might result in a bit of rear instability for Jeff Evans as he battles with Colton Lane over 10th place. Evans just ahead coming into the braking zone for turn 1, but Colton Lane on the inside definitely rounding them up there, and he could potentially try and snatch a position from Aaron Webb as well. As, oh goodness me, there was another big slide and incident there as piling in is the number 4. Oh, and that's going to be another yellow flag.
Bob Clement just got dumped a little bit there, and just a little bit of an ARCA brake situation from everybody behind as they piled in there. Ricky Barbary again involved in an incident. Ryan Traver, I think Jose Medina might have taken a bite out of that as well, and Dalton Geyer, all of them falling through the field. But I think that was all triggered by Clement just getting a little bit of a tap to the back, and yeah, it was Nicholas Hunter who sent it in there, turned Clement around, and he saves it. I would say well done by him, but unfortunately the rest of the field just comes piling in. No, it was completely unrelated, actually. They go down the back straight. Oh, Barbary tries to send it through the middle, and there goes everybody with him.
Not quite a case of ARCA brakes, but some of the way there for Ricky Barbary. Obviously, he wanted to try and gain as much advantage as possible. Unfortunately, the door was closing on the way in, and no surprise that the majority of the field is back in the pit lane. Bradley Holly will take up that first pit stall. Abner Acosta slotting in just ahead of Danny Cervantes there, but will it be a successful pit stop? Will he be able to get second place back? We'll find out in about 7 seconds whether or not that works out for them. Colton Lane is one of the drivers that has stayed out. Brendan Chatley, Danik Momi, James Dewar as well, all staying out. Bradley Holly will hold on to that lead, and it looks like Danny Cervantes still in effective second place as they exit the pits.
But I don't think that all of these drivers who stayed out are going to bring it down pit road here. Let's see if I'm right. I am. Lane stays out, Chatley stays out, Momi stays out, Dewar stays out, and Elise stays out, Medina stays out, Westerfield stays out, and Barbary. I think he'll bring it down pit road to get a little bit of damage fixed. Nope, he does not. So that's 8 cars that are legitimately, well, 6 cars now. 2 of them did bring it down pit road a little bit late. Westerfield did, and Medina as well. But that's 6 cars ahead of Bradley Holly, ahead of Abner Acosta, ahead of Danny Cervantes. They're going to have to make their way through traffic for the first time in this race.
Yeah, and don't forget the likes of Lane, Chatley and Dewar, they pitted under the caution before this one, as did Ricky Barbary. The driver with the oldest set of tyres in the field is Daniel Alley with 27-lap-old tyres in 4th on track at the moment. He's going to be really struggling when they get back to green flag racing if he doesn't bring it in right now.
And you know who he's going to be starting directly in front of? Bradley Holly. So Brad is going to want to make quick work of him. He's not going to be very happy that he's starting behind a driver with 30-lap older tires, but he's going to have to, and we'll have to see whether or not he can actually make that move. Is he going to be as good in traffic as he is in clean air? Is he as good as at offense as he is at defense? Historically, yes, but right now, could Cervantes take advantage? Could Acosta take advantage? Sink's been rather aggressive too. I think we're in for quite a showdown here. Only 29 laps to go. Not sure if we'll make it to the end on time, but it's going to be a showdown here, at least in the short term.
Yeah, and it looks like we are going to be going time certain. There's 10 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock, so there's not much time here for the drivers to make their moves. When we go green, it should probably be around probably around 9 minutes to go, or something like that. We'll have to wait and see. Either way, every second that ticks down is a second less that Bradley Holly has to defend from the drivers behind and try to make his way further back to the front of the field. But I think really smart decision by these drivers up the front at the moment to stay out on the previous caution. They've got track position, and they will certainly try to defend as best they can. It was lapped traffic and drivers on worn tyres that almost cost Bradley Holly the win in the final round of last season at Atlanta Motor Speedway. So he'll certainly have experience under his belt when dealing with slower cars in front of him. But it's going to be quite the interesting final 9 minutes here.
You can see that white truck of Brendan Chatley is almost a dark gray truck now with that massive gash on the side. The rear end is bent in, the front end is bent in. The top line is not really going to be the place you want to be with Chatley and Ailey in the number 666. Lane and Dewar aren't in much better shape, but they are in better shape, so watch Cervantes here to take as much advantage as he can.
All right, let's prepare to go green once again. Colton Lane is going to lead the way off this restart. Pace car in the pits, and Lane goes a bit early there, takes everyone by surprise. Brendan Chatley trying to move down to defend from James Dewar, but James is going to make it too wide coming into turn one. Bradley Holly wasting no time here, making it 3 wide. The spinner in front, and Holly's been collected. It looks like Danny Cervantes got out of that one. Abner Acosta did too.
You can see that one coming with the difference in pace. On the start, Holly already put the bumper to the back of Ailey there because he was just so much faster on those newer tires, and he sent it through the middle, and unfortunately, the middle was not the place you wanted to be because Chatley got spun up ahead, and he planted himself sideways in front of Bradley Holly, and unfortunately in front of about the rest of the field as well.
Yeah, that's a shame. It was only the slightest of taps that James Dewar gave to Brendan Chatley here. We'll take another look at it on the exit of turns 1 and 2. There it goes, and unfortunately that was all Bradley Holly could see as he made his way through, and the field spread out to avoid that incident. So we'll be under caution now for another 3 or 4 minutes or so, which means it's certainly going to be a difficult run to the end. That's the view there from the trackside cam. And seeing a couple of other drivers going for a spin as well. The number 79 of Adam Shane getting involved in all of that as well. And that's a shame for Adam. He's down 20 from where he started now. And remember, he was running quite well in the midfield before that point.
Yeah, I think he just got on the brakes too hard trying to avoid the massive accident in front of him, and he just looped it, and then that's Paul Williams hitting his nose as well. And that's just how it goes when you have an incident on restarts like this. It's such a short track when there's so many cars in a small area. It's almost impossible for some drivers to avoid an incident like that, and it was quite literally impossible for Bradley Holly not to get involved in that. Maybe if he didn't send it 3 wide, but he was trying to fight for the win, so you can't blame him for putting his truck in that position, and it's just terrible luck for him. He will restart in 4th here, remarkably, but I don't think that truck's going to be in very good shape. That was quite a big hit he took to the nose.
Yeah, it certainly was, but crucially for Abner Acosta, he managed to just get past Holly with that incident before the caution flag came out. So this is a position that Abner Acosta will certainly want to be in. But remember, his form on the restarts here hasn't exactly been spotless, so he's going to have to be right on it here when Colton Lane eventually decides to put the hammer down next. It's been good for James Dewar as well. Yes, unfortunately, he did technically cause that caution by spinning around Chatley, but he manages to hold on to 2nd place, and if things go his way, he could potentially hold on for a podium, but it's going to be incredibly difficult. They got drivers on fresh tires all behind them now.
And the driver I would watch here is Danny Cervantes. He's been very, very strong on the short runs. He's starting right behind Abner Acosta. If he can get ahead of Acosta here, I think he'll be in great shape because Acosta has not historically been able to get by Cervantes. We saw him racing side by side for quite a few laps about 4 cautions ago, 4 restarts ago, and Cervantes was able to hang on. So if he can find the hole to get through Acosta, to get by Holly with that damage, I think he might be in great shape here. He's a great defensive driver so far this race, and I think he's definitely going to be the underdog to watch here out of the top 5.
Well, we've got plenty of drivers to keep our eyes on here. And we're under 5 minutes to go now, so scratch what I said earlier. We're going to have even less time to work with towards the end of this race, and that's a bit of a double-edged sword. Yes, it certainly drives the drivers to try and make up positions at a faster rate, but it also increases the likelihood of yet another caution, and there's every chance that we might finish under caution here. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully we get a green flag finish here. But still keep that possibility in mind. The pace car lights should turn off here at the end of this lap, and they do. So we'll be going green here with about 3 minutes to go.
Yeah, we crossed the line there, 55.42.881. So that goes to show with a 1 minute pace lap once we cross the line again, about 3 minutes 15 by my very, very short calculations. That should be 9 or 10 laps. So it's going to be quite the shootout and quite the short run if we do go green, but I think that might be enough time for the fresh tired trucks to get around Lane and Dewar. Dewar should be easy pickings. Holly, if the damage is as bad as we think, should be easy pickings, but we'll see. It's a short run. Can Lane hang on? It'll be quite the upset.
That it would. Well, we wait with bated breath for this caution to come to an end, and for us to go back to green flag racing for what we hope will be the final time here tonight at Iowa Speedway. Pace car in. When does Colton Lane decide to go? And he does go magnificently, and Abner Acosta's been able to stay with him. Bradley Holly switches immediately to the inside to cover off Danny Cervantes, and maintaining third into turn one at James Dewar, but we'll have to wait and see how those old tyres end up working out for him. Almost a bit of a wall tap there from Abner Acosta as he's pressuring Colton Lane for the lead. He sees a car width on the inside and he tries to make it work, but not quite yet. Coming round to start lap 96. And oh, I saw a driver sliding in the background, but we stay green, and there goes Abner Acosta up the inside of Colton Lane, trying to go for the lead of the race. Lane gets a much better exit on the outside. Meanwhile, behind them, they're almost going 3 wide. Danny Cervantes gets back past Bradley Holly, and James Dewar managing to maintain 4th and now 3rd as he gets a great exit out of turns 3 and 4. The field behind them all trying their best to sort out their positions, and Abner Acosta, he's just been able to get ahead now of Colton Lane, and he will secure the lead of the race definitely, because Colton Lane's just hit the wall.
Lane walls it, and I think that's the final nail in the coffin for him, unless he can miraculously fight back here. Acosta takes the lead. Cervantes has not been able to get by these two drivers as easily as I thought he could, as Evans gets a little bit out of shape further back, but here comes Cervantes finally to the outside. This should be him clear into third. Holly has been holding remarkably well for that front end damage, and the caution's out. I think that's it. It's over.
Ah, man. That's a shame. Real shame there. And that is car 666 there. That's Daniel Ailey there, who's got major damage now on the rear of that truck. And, well, 1.5 minutes to go. We are going to finish under caution. Here's what happened. Bit of 3 wide running coming into turn 1. Evans to the inside, and oh yeah, Ailey just getting tapped there by the number 18.
Yeah, Rob Neller was in the middle there. I don't know who I would assign blame to in that accident. It looks like they just kind of met in the middle, unfortunately, but as these caution laps take a minute to run, there won't be a green-white checker. We're going to hit time here. Abner Acosta, he made the move just in time. Colton Lane is going to be wishing so badly that he could have held on for just a couple more laps, but second place, it's nothing to sneer at. It's still a good result for Colton Lane, and Cervantes, he's also going to wish he could have taken the win, but third place in a podium, and Holly in 4th place. That's going to be a good recovery for him, too, with that front-end damage. There's tons of stories here in the top 5, and that's not even all of them.
Yeah, this has been quite the action-packed race to start off 2022 Season 1. And, I mean, if this is anything to go by, we're in for a heck of a season. With Abner Acosta now on the final lap of the race. There's 15 seconds on the clock. And this will be a nicely earned victory for Abner Acosta there. He did get lucky a couple of times with the incidents. And the final lucky dog of the night, Dalton Geyer, ends up making his way around the field back onto the lead lap in 25th position. But It's going to be a nice, serene coast to the line behind the pace car for Abner Acosta. And he is going to take first blood in the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series for 2022 Season 1. Great run by Colton Lame. That decision not to pit under the third last caution benefited him massively, and he will get a second place finish out of that. Brilliant stuff there. And Danny Cervantes holding on for third. He was competing up the top all the way through. Brilliant drive there.
And James Dewar, that was the only driver in the top 5 I didn't mention. 29th to 5th. So the decision to stay out, unfortunately, wasn't as clean as he would have hoped, but he still made his way through the field. 24 spots up. He's the biggest mover, and that's going to be a great result to start his season.
Looks like we've actually gone a lap extra here under caution, so the finish is not official just yet, but there's no positions that are going to be changed here under caution, so the result will stand. And goodness me, I think I definitely have to give props to James Dewar as well. As you mentioned, 29th to 5th. That's a fantastic run there from Dewar, and playing the strategy game perfectly once drivers realised that the second half of the race was going to be a bit of a caution fest, but ever so slightly weaving for Abner Acosta across the line. That is the win secured for the number 5. Oh boy, what a night it has been. What a morning for me. That's truly action-packed running here in the Precision Racing League. What's it going to be like in the new year at Dover for round 2? Another fantastic track coming up in the next couple of weeks. And the trucks will bring their A game there as well, I'm sure. But the victory celebrations begin here for Abner Acosta. And with that, we will take a little moment here to step aside on the Global Sim Racing channel. When we return, we will have our full race results and interviews with our top 3.
Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced Sim Racing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client. And like we did today, we install a D-Box system. We install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after, we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware, and that's why we want to create something that's really gonna reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
Well, a brilliant action-packed night of racing at Iowa Speedway for the opening round of 2022 Season 1 in the Precision Racing League NASCAR Truck Series. Here are the results. Abner Acosta in the number 5 taking victory. First blood of the season goes to private label Team Hype. Colton Lane and Danny Cervantes complete the podium. Bradley Holly has to settle for 4th despite leading for the vast majority of the event. James Dewar rounding out the top 5. Thomas Sink eventually coming home 6th after fighting for 4th early on. Mark Kalin making up 4 positions to finish in 7th, and it's the same for Ryan Goodall, who finishes in 8th. Aaron Webb unfortunately losing 2 positions, but he still holds on to the top 10 alongside Austin Hunter, who gains 11 positions.
Charles Sumner brought it home in 11th alongside Jeff Evans, who got into a little bit of trouble late in the race. Ricky Barbary and Paul Williams both got into their own accidents, as well as did Rob Neller. Joshua Telez brought it home 16th, Nick Hunter 17th, Jim Westerfield 18th, Doyle Lawrence and Daniel Ailey round out the top 20.
21st place went to Michael Lemieux. He had some dramas early on and a couple of incidences of contact, but he still holds on for that position. Randy Caldwell gains 10, finishes 22nd. Ryan Traver in 23rd. It's Jose Medina who comes home in 24th after having to pit for repairs. Dalton Gaia, the last car to finish on the lead lap, getting the lucky dog right at the end for 25th place. Bob Clement, he comes home a lap down in 26th. It's 3 laps down for Danik Momi. And then we really start getting into retirement territory. Adam Shane and Brendan Chatley, they had to retire after the last caution of the event. Adam Zemke getting taken out as well, with CM Pennington, Clayton Curry, Barron Hilton and Kaylee Simons all not making it to the finish. A very rough night for those drivers at the rear of the field. Now we go to our top 3 interviews, and the first driver that we're going to talk to is Danny Cervantes in the number 25. Danny, a great night of racing for you. You're in the top 3 all night long.
Yeah, it was a great race. Just wish towards the end we could have kept it clean. I definitely feel like I probably could have had something for Brad if it probably went green before those strings of cautions came out at the end.
Your short run pace seemed to be really good. In those first few laps after cautions, you were pressuring Bradley massively for the lead. So was it a case of just working your tyres really hard to try and stay with him?
Actually, we were both saving just because after the first caution came out, it was right on the window of making it. So both of us, we were both saving just, in the off chance we did make it green all the way. We still have enough tire at the end. But as we saw, cautions came out and cautions bred cautions, and it just turned from a short run pace race after that.
Well, this being the first round of the season, and there was quite a bit of craziness to deal with, but you still come home with a podium finish. How do you feel that pans out for your form for the rest of the season? I know it's early days.
I've definitely have high hopes. I've definitely improved the past 2 years I've been with the league. So hopefully I can be within the top 3 at the end of the season. And hopefully I make the Final Four playoff system at the end of the year. Hopefully make the Final Four again like I did last year and capitalize on that and take it home.
Well, anyone you'd like to thank before we let you go, Danny?
I'd like to thank all my wonderful teammates over at Waterback Racing. They've definitely helped me improve. I'd like to thank you guys for broadcasting it, all the stewards and directors over at the PRL. They make this a fantastic league to race in, and also they're fantastic sponsors.
Danny Cervantes there coming home with a brilliant 3rd place finish here in the first round. Next up, we've got Colton Lane, one of the drivers who stayed out under the previous caution, and he's going to be stood by with Joey Tebben.
Yeah, Colton, the strategy move at the end of the race there, it seems like it did pay off. Unfortunately, you couldn't hold off Abner Acosta until the caution came out, but you got to still be pretty happy with the 2nd place finish, right?
Oh, yeah, can't be happier. I don't think I've been in the top 3 in several months, and then I had a bad, streak last season where I got, into a lot of wrecks. So it's nice to be able to finish one out clean. Well, besides the wall hit, but.
Well, what was it like when you were fighting with Abner there? Because that was for the race win. I'm sure you could see the clock ticking down. How much mental effort was going into that? Were you desperate to hang on there, or were you happy to maybe settle for second?
Well, I mean, I wanted to hold on, but I mean, honestly, at the end after the wall hit, it was just trying to hold on. So, I tried to when we got on the wall because I tried to pinch him a little bit, or not pinch him, but try to get the run off at 2, and just took a little bit too much with the older tires I had, and it just didn't take with it.
Well, next week we go to Dover, the newly renamed Dover Motor Speedway. How are you feeling about that track next week? And do you think you can keep up your form from this week to the next?
Hopefully. I mean, I always try to aim for at bare minimum a top 10, but if I can get another top 5, that'd be pretty nice. Dover's fun, but it's one of the harder ones, so we'll have to see if we can't have another good race there and get some long green flags in.
Well, congrats on your second place finish tonight. You have anyone else you want to thank before we kick you out of here?
I mean, of course, the whole Waterbag crew. I mean, I've been racing with them for a couple of years, namely Tom and Brad. I've been with racing for a long time. And then just really, PRL putting on a good league. I mean, I've been with them for since 2016. So, I mean, I've been racing them for pretty much my whole time of taking iRacing semi-seriously, not pro level or anything, but I like to try to get on and try to do good at it. But then you always put on a quality broadcast and show us in a good light most of the time, and we present ourselves that way.
Well, Colton Lane, you certainly did put yourself in a good light tonight with the strategy call of the season. It has only been one race, but I'll say it is the strategy call of the season. Congrats on your second place finish this evening. And we've got one more driver left. It's the driver who did pass Colton just in time. Abner Acosta is with Reese.
He is indeed. Welcome, Abner. Back to victory lane for you, but it was certainly hard fought.
Hello, guys. Good evening. Yeah, definitely difficult. Got lucky with the late cautions there at the end, and was able to get around Danny and Brad. But yeah, definitely without those cautions, it would have been difficult to get to the front with the short time that I had left.
The incident that brought out the second last caution must have been scary from your point of view.
Yeah, there was a lot of cars with worn tires in front, and I just dove and hugged the inside line, and I heard there was from my spotter that there was an incident, but I couldn't see anything going on. And I think I also even bumped the guy ahead of me and kind of turned up too. So yeah, I think Brad got some engine damage from that, which obviously helped me as well. But yeah, definitely got lucky.
It looks like it's going to be business as usual up the front with you and Bradley Holly fighting for race wins with a few surprises here and there in the podium positions. So it's certainly the battle continuing from last season. Do you think you've got what it takes to take the year-long title this time round?
Yeah. I mean, I think me and Brad, I mean, we've raced together so many seasons now, and we're just any day. One of us can win any day. It doesn't really matter what track or what it is. So yeah, it's definitely gonna have to fight him hard. And I see Danny. I was impressed by Danny and Thomas. They were pretty quick today as well. So we'll see if they can make it a four-way battle here.
Absolutely. And next round, obviously, Dover. Joey asked Colton about it, and I'll ask you about it. How do you usually go around Dover?
I haven't done Dover in the trucks for a long time, but with short tracks, I'm pretty good at them, with a little bit of using trail braking and all that. But my main concern to all the tracks is just saving tires. So I know that's going to be a huge factor. So that's anytime I approach a track, it's just the best way I can save my tires, and, the speed will come.
The speed certainly will, as it did today in the final stages. Before we let you go, Abner, anyone from your squad you'd like to acknowledge?
Yeah, I want to thank everybody at Private Label Team Hype and sponsors Ethica. I also want to thank PRL and GSRC for broadcasting, and my spotter today, Connor. Tommy, James, and everybody, Richard, everybody that was in the comms, just helping out. Thank you.
And we thank you for joining us, Abner Acosta, race winner at Iowa Speedway. Well, fantastic opening round of the season, and I'm certainly hyped for the next one. But before we go to that, we have to thank our brilliant series sponsors one more time. Advanced SimRacing. They design and build the sturdiest and most durable aluminium profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com. RaceLab. It helps you to improve your driving skills. Start using it now for free at racelab.app. ButtKicker as well on board. Feel what you've been missing at thebuttkicker.com. And finally, of course, Ninja Trader. Visit ninjatrader.com and get started with a risk-free trading simulator to start tracking your performance. From GSRC, our thanks must also go to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcasts listed here on your screen. Additional thanks to June Lalonde down at the bottom, who provides our wonderful music. Check out her Bandcamp page for more of her great work. Thanks to the team today. It's Joey Tebben, Zach, and Dougie Beard. I'm Reese Gardner. You can find more info about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media listed on the screen. Also, please check out our merchandise store at simracingmerch.com/GSRC. We keep a link in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well so you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. The next race in the PRL NASCAR Truck Series is at Dover on January the 5th. Make sure that you tune in for that. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, we say race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.